Rockstar Ate My Hamster is a pretty unique game, not just for the ZX Spectrum, but gaming in general. It's a game in which you manage your own rock band and aim for the heady heights of superstardom. There are other games that have attempted the same thing, mostly in the indie scene, but honestly, none of them really held a candle to Rockstar Ate My Hamster. At least, that's what I thought when compared to the cloudy judgment of rose-tinted glasses. Truth is, it's been a good 20 plus years since I last played the game, and it's hard to accurately judge something from that long ago. I absolutely loved Rockstar Ate My Hamster because not only was it unlike anything else I'd ever played, it was also focused on a subject that was tangible. This wasn't a game about jumping over angry toilets or making an egg fight a wizard. This was the story of a hopeless campaign to get your band into the charts. Considering the entire game is essentially a series of menus, the concept was exciting. When the game boots up, you're introduced to your two partners at the Cecil Pitt theatrical agency, Cecil and Clive. Cecil decides that the theatrical business is doing nothing for them and wants to put his money, or rather Clive's money, into breaking down the doors of the rock music industry. You're then whisked off into the screening room. You'll be asked to choose the size of your band between 1 and 4 rock stars, and you'll be shown various caricatures of pop and rock stars of the time, albeit with names and likenesses that just skim the surface of, oh shit, can we really get away with this? Wacky Jacko, Iggy Carrust, Dorothy. Yeah, you get the idea. So, for my first playthrough, I decided I was going to put together the world's ultimate extreme heavy metal pop group. I picked Tina Turner for vocals, Bimbo Baggins on drums, Dorothy on tambourine, and Iggy Carrust on guitar. Clive suggests the name of Ultra Horrid Noisy Poison, which is, quite frankly, rubbish. I opt for the much more chart-friendly name of Fart Corpse 2000. We're asked what kind of equipment we want, spanking new, second-hand or dodgy gear. Each comes with a respective price tag. We're pretty flush at the moment with 50 grand in the bank, but I don't want to go too crazy, so second-hand gear it is. Now, I'm pretty confident that I'm gonna set the world ablaze with this new band because I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I'm a pretty big deal in the music industry. I go by many rock names. Some call me a rock god. Some call me the noise from the damp grass. Some call me Reginald B guitar amplifier. Some call me Dr. Power Chord. I earned all of these names through some serious rocking out. So, now you know how much expertise is on the table. I'm pretty confident you know what's about to go down. First things first, I need to get this bunch of no-names into shape, so I dump them straight into a practice session. 3 days ought to do the trick. The band want their wages already. Well, no problem, I've still got a hefty sum left. Oh. Yeah, well, I said I was a rock god, not an accountant. I guess I better actually pay attention to the weekly wage of my potential rock stars next time. You know what? 4 rock stars seems way too much anyway. Let's drop down to 2 and work with that. Iggy Carrust and Dorothy should do the trick, and we'll call the band the Penny Thrifters. We need to maintain frugality if we want to rock the charts, and that's what this band's image is all about. A bit of practice out the way, we head for our first gig. £2 a head at the local pub, and we immediately start selling out for some reason. It turns out people are very easily pleased, so we go for another gig and charge £5 a head. Sold out again. This rock band management job is a piece of piss. We start getting calls through for record contracts, but the terms aren't great, so I order Clive to run a publicity stunt instead. Dorothy hits the front page of The Stun. Not bad for a rock star with no recorded albums and 2 gigs in a pub. I send the Penny Thrifters on a few more gigs and end up with a recording contract that gives us a decent sum of money up front. With over 50 grand in the bank, I decide to treat the lads and buy them a nice vegan meal so Dorothy doesn't kick off. After a bit more gigging, it's time to put our money where our mouthpieces are. We head into the recording studio. I get as far as recording This Charming Starman when I run out of money again. Turns out you need quite a wedge of cash saved up if you want to keep paying your rock stars while also paying for studio recordings. Clive informs us that we've gone bankrupt again, and Cecil responds, Jesus Christ. Okay, final attempt, and this time I've definitely got the hang of things. 2 rock stars in the bag. This time we're going with the cheapest we can find, Dorothy and Lummy, known together as Motorshed. We've got enough money to afford some spanking new gear, and we're immediately headed on a 5-night tour of pubs at £10 a pop. Again, we're selling out straight away, which practically pays for the gear in itself. To celebrate, I buy the boys some comics and continue to push them through the gig circuit. The first record company that comes knocking on my door gets my service, and I immediately put the boys to work on their album. I figure the best way to make money from an album is to make the track listing as confusing as possible. So, we have track 1. This is literally just 5 minutes of B-movie quotes over the top of the Canadian national anthem. Track 2. This sounds a bit like the Ace of Spades, but it's all done on synthesizers set to trumpet noise. Track 4. A cover of track 2, but this time the synthesizers are set to drum beats only. Track? This is just 2 minutes of silence. Track 0. This is track 1, track 2, and track 4 layered on top of each other. Plums, an entirely original song about Dorothy's, quite frankly, weird obsession with plums. Meet Telescope, a Jean-Michel Jarre-esque romantic ballad based on the plot of Superman 3. Permanent Scar, a cover of Ghost Town by the Specials, but just vocals. Please buy my record. This is literally just a plea, it's not even a track. Terminator 2 Judgment Day, a 45-minute rendition of the theme from Terminator 2. With everything recorded and finalised, it's time to release a single. Which to go for though? I decide on track? It's 2 minutes of silence, which means we can't possibly receive any criticism. We produce a relatively cheap video to go alongside it, featuring vampires, spiders and rats, because, well, that's just the best of some bad options. After some more gigging, the singles chart is released, and we haven't made a dent. Everyone is disappointed, but frankly unsurprised. It's time to release another single, and this time it's Meet Telescope. We pump more money into the video and use leggy models with whips as the main focal point. This one can't possibly fail. We get a phone call from a beer company that wants to sponsor us for £100,000. Yes, please. We're now absolutely rolling in it. I start sending the boys to university gigs and charge an absolute fortune. 22 grand a night I'm making, and these guys only cost me a weekly wage of 1,500. This is the smell of success. Or it would be if our bloody singles got anywhere. Screw it, it's time to drop the album. Maybe that'll give us a boost. I decide to call it Fantasia, because why the hell not at this point? I decide to send the boys out to concert halls this time for 7 nights and, again, make an absolute killing. And would you look at that? In at number 10 on the singles chart is Meet Telescope by Motorshed. It's all uphill from here, lads. I drop another single, this time it's Plums, and send the boys on a stadium tour to promote it. As usual, I absolutely rake it in because I'm an absolute master of management, but the album's not doing too well, so I decide it's time for some publicity. I get Clive to sort something out, and shit. It appears our publicity stunt went wrong, and Lummy has actually died instead. Thanks, Clive. Things just go from bad to worse at this point. Dorothy continues his solo career for a while, but he accidentally spends £1 million on a music video and bankrupts himself. And that's the end of Motorshed. And that's the end of my rock management career. So here's the thing with Rockstar Ate My Hamster. As you'll have no doubt noticed, it's not exactly accurate in its portrayal of the rock and roll lifestyle, but it does tell good stories. It's a game that gives as much back as you put into it, and as such, it's one that can be heartily recommended if you're willing to do that. Yes, it's daft. Yes, your band members can be killed off through no fault of your own and there's no way to replace them. Yes, the popularity of your band seems to be unreasonably high from the get-go. But there's something within Rockstar Ate My Hamster that just doesn't seem to have been captured in any other rock band management game that I've played since. There's a gritty, satirical British heart at the core of the game that makes the characters shine through. You become attached to your off-brand band members. You want to see your ridiculous concept album reach number 1. But that's me projecting myself onto the game. If you're someone who's looking for a hardcore management simulation where every decision matters and you want to pore over spreadsheets to ensure you're putting your money into the right aspects, this isn't the game for you. If you want to put 4 rock stars in a band, name it after a sex toy, and then do your damnedest to get them to the top of the charts, well, this game still has the charm, the ridiculousness, and the entertainment value to do that. Just maybe ignore the fact that Gary Glitter is in it.